Hi there, my name is Gabe, and I'm here to talk to you about video games. So, first of all, the major platforms include um, PS4, which was created by Sony. Then we have Microsoft creating Xbox, which is another line. Those are both console games, so they're played on a monitor with a controller. Now, they can only handle a certain level of graphic and they can only run a certain speed, so they're limited. However, on the PC, you have a wider range, so that's the bigger console to play games on, or platform. So a PC has the capability to be really bad or run really well with really heavy games, and heavy games being they have a very they have very quality graphics. Their graphics are very um, top notch. So we have PCs and we have PS4s, Xbox. There's also different things. There are older generations of the products in the consoles. So PS4 and Xbox One are the only the most recent. Now that's just the platforms. There's also mobile, but that's a little that's a little different. Now, as far as the most popular games, that changes um, as new games come out, obviously. So I'd say right now, the most popular game would probably be Fortnite, just because it's very attractive to the children, and adults play it too. However, in my opinion, the game itself is not the best. That's of course my opinion, but um, that type of game is called a battle royale game, where you get uh, a certain amount of players. In Fortnite, you get 100, I believe. So 100 players from all over the world join into one world, and they battle it out. And then when there's one person left, that person wins. So that same theme happens with a lot of battle royale games. Now, another type of game is, for instance, we have an RPG, which stands for role playing game. Now that is a bit more geared toward the single player, so it's for one person. So that can range from a fantasy world to a shooter game. So RPGs they range, but they are tailored. Like I said, they're usually tailored for one person, which makes them more of a single or an experience for one person. So unlike battle royale games or multiplayer games in general, RPG games usually only hold one person. There are some games that integrate some multiplayer aspects into their RPG games. Now, um, apart from RPG games and battle royale games, we also have shooters. Like I mentioned, they can be RPG, but there's also FPS, which is first-person shooter, and that can be something more like there's a game called Black Ops, for instance, that has a lot of different. There's a lot of games based on that one under that one name, Black Ops. So that is a game where it's just you're in from the first person perspective, and you shoot enemies. That's pretty much the whole game. Of course, there's plot lines and stuff. There's a whole thing, but the basic plot is you shoot the enemies. Not to say that they aren't fun, because they can be really fun. It's just that's the basic plot. So that's some of the major games. There's other types, obviously. Like there's indie games. There are platformer games. There are puzzle games. There's a lot of different types, but those three are the main. I believe they're like the main, the biggest games created today. Now, different groups of users, those can range from, I don't know. Some people may just stay inside all day and play them. Those people would likely be more skilled with them because they spend a lot of their time there. Other people play casually and only on and off. They might play some and then not play at all. And the game makers themselves make money by selling these games. I mean, obviously, but depending on how successful their game is, the more money they make, because the more people like the game, the more people buy the game, the more people know about the game, and then, the cycle continues. Anyway, the game makers get money based on how many copies of their game they sell. So it's really down to if the game maker knows what their audience wants. Because if they're not in touch with their audience and the people that play their games, they're not going to make a successful game. Now, to make a successful game, you have to know exactly what the people want, right? So your goal is to create a game that is open to the vast majority of people, right? So you want to have it tailored so that you can get the most audience in playing your game, right? So you want to interest all audiences. So people who may not have a lot of time to play their games, they would want something a little bit more easy that doesn't require a lot of time. However, people who play more hardcore, they would want something that requires more time because they have time to spend. So that creates problems, right? So that's why some game companies just focus on a few different audiences that they can get the most out of. And then that creates the most success, because it's hard to create something that's tailored for everybody. Now, if you can get a large audience and your game is good, even if you don't get it to all audiences, if it's to a choice few and you get a lot of people out of that audience because your game is attractive, you will make a lot of money as a game maker. Now, of course, it will take a lot of money in the first place in order to create this game, right? Because it has to be a very top quality game in order to get people in. So sometimes that means you have to have a very good graphic team or a very good story writing team, because you want to have something that hooks people, whether it's the graphics or the storyline or the combat or the puzzles. It ranges depending on the audience you're trying to attract. Now, a new thing with the rise of technology, we now have YouTube. Now, people can make money if they're charismatic and they know how to make people laugh, or even if they don't know how to make people laugh, if they know how to play games very well, for instance, they could get a large amount of subscribers on their channel by playing games and recording those games in that moment. Now, they make money through ads, basically. So if they have a large amount of subscribers and they put a few ads in their videos, they can get a lot of money from those ad companies for putting those ads in their videos. But firstly, you can't just put ads in your videos. You have to get people have to want to put their ads in your videos. So that's why you need to be popular in the first place. Now, video games are an excellent way to do this because so many people enjoy them. Now, that right there is grounds for like a topic that people can relate to. So that's a great way to gain a large following. But you have to be either good at the game or you have to be funny. or something. You have to have some quality that people like and they want to see a lot of. Now, I'd say the pros and cons, just a very quick basic list. Video games themselves, they're great time killers. They're a good coping mechanism for whatever you might be going through. They're beneficial to things like mental reflexes or I don't know. It really depends on the game you're playing. And yeah, that's all that I have to say right now. Thanks for listening.